Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for yet another Helm Developer Community Weekly Call. And just a reminder, we stick by the CNCF guidelines, so be nice, and everybody always is, so we never have to worry. All right, announcements. So Helm 3.10.2, so went live today. We're going to put that out, so please go test it. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Anybody have any other announcements? Okay. All right, let's go to the discussion, and please drop any discussion topics into the meeting notes. I'll drop that into chat right now. And our first discussion topic is Karen. Karen, please talk about the Helm dashboard.
Yeah, so when I was at KubeCon and I was at the Helm project booth, I think the Commodore folks came by and mentioned that they had a Helm project and they had asked me if I can endorse it and to retweet and whatnot. I wasn't really aware of this project, but I looked into it, and like, I'm not going to evaluate on the technical side, but I do see that Helm dashboard. Sorry, I'll drop a link to it. They use the Helm brand in its name. And I think there's a bigger discussion that we should have beyond today. But yeah, it uses the Helm name in its project name. And if anyone is available and better suited than I am to kind of take a look at the project, basically because we are a CNCF project, the Helm name and trademark is held by CNCF. So technically they're not supposed to be using Helm in their project name. And so I don't know if they make any money off of it, if there are any like commercial offerings, things around that. But I think we should probably take a look at it just to make sure that, like, if it's obviously making money off of the name, and it's not even like for us to deal with necessarily, but they're supposed to go to CNCF and kind of ask about the trademark guidelines and like brand usage around using the name, because it does kind of make it seem like it's an official Helm related thing, but I don't know if anyone here has worked with them on that. I wasn't aware of it, but yeah, it's a little tricky. So we can revisit this next week as well. I wasn't sure kind of where to start on this, but the few people that I did talk to mentioned that like this would be a CNCF thing, just because like, yeah, they're using our name without us necessarily knowing. And if there is money being made off of it, it can become a bigger issue.
Whether or not there's money being made off of it, you have to guard your trademark. If you give it up for anybody, you can give it up for everybody.
Yeah, I just like,
Amy should be pinged on this.
What was that?
Somebody should ping Amy on this.
Well, so there, okay, so I have another example. So our I'll have to find it, but we just added YXX Hero as a docs maintainer to the Helm like repo, and they also have like a Helm related project that's under their own repo. And like, I think that's, yeah, like it's under their own individual repo, but this is under like a company's repo. So I feel like I personally am like, okay, well, this is like an individual person's project, right? Versus like a company. So I'm not sure, yeah, kind of like where the discretion is between those two things, but this is definitely something that I think is happening on a larger scale. Cause like I was looking at, a Cloud Advocates page the other day, and they've been doing interviews, demoing it and things like that. So yeah.
Two questions. One for the notes. What you said, what was that example that you were just giving? Like, is there a link I can put or a name or something?
Let me find it. It was YXX Hero, who is now one of our maintainers. Helm file.
Yeah, Helm. I was actually, that was the next thing I was going to bring up, was Helm files existed for quite a long time. I'm actually really familiar with this because my company wrote a tool years back that we called AutoHelm, and we changed the name to Reckoner to avoid issues with the trademark, because realized we couldn't be open sourcing it under that name. And the Helm file continued to exist through that time, and I was always curious if anybody had brought
Thoughts?
that up. Thoughts about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know this, or I had only kind of found Helm file when I was looking through YXX Heroes profile. And like I said, like this seems like it's an individual project versus something happening at the company level. And like, I guess YXX Hero is, you know, obviously involved with the project and things like that. It's just Commodore, I like, they came up to me and they're like, what do you do at Helm? And I was like, hello, I'm the community manager. And so it was, I think, I'm not sure how involved they have been with the project. And yeah, so I had kind of mentioned this quickly to Matt, Farina in passing, but I'd love to kind of get everyone's thoughts. And if anyone has any like context for any of this or seen other examples as well, it might be good for us to kind of, yeah, take a deeper look.
I think a good thing would be sending a note to trademarks at Linux Foundation. Was it .org, right?
Okay.
Just to highlight it, and they would look into it. And then it's not coming from the Helm community saying, hey, stop doing this. Then it's just the Linux Foundation looking into it.
Yeah, okay. I'll also loop in Amy just so she knows.
Yeah. Because we
Yeah.
had
If anyone like doesn't think this is a good idea, I'd also love to know like why or like how we should think about it. Because I would like to avoid drama in the community, but I don't know. Yeah.
think great that people are building Helm dashboards. So are they marketing it as a community dashboard, or is this that anybody can use? And I need to look at that repo more, or is this part of their product? Right, and they have Helm integrated into their downstream product and they just call it their Helm dashboard. I think those are two separate
Yeah.
issues.
Maybe I'll wait a week so people can take a look at it and then we'll reach out.
So for the first glance, it looks like it could be just used like as the open source project, right? But they have on their website a pricing page, so kind of maybe selling enterprise support for this and other stuff they offer, or a hosted version or something like that, right? But I can take a more deep look on this if I can actually get it to run without buying something off of them.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you.
And Amy has told me before that for any trademark issues to ping her.
Knowing Commodore and I know some of the folks over there, it's definitely a commercial, enterprise, and they will be incorporated. I believe it is incorporated. I just looked up the repo and the project, so I believe it is incorporated in their
So
software.
for side note, for operator framework, one of the downstream products is using some of the operator framework trademark names. And so that was raised to Amy and the email that I mentioned, the trademarks. So yeah, just as an example. I mean,
What did they have them do? Like, did they, because it's like, I get the like desire to associate it with, an existing project to show the connection, but like, yeah, have you seen examples of like how that can be done without infringing on the trademark?
I mean, it's a good, okay. I was just going to give examples from, I guess I should turn on my video. So examples from different downstream products. I mean, like OpenShift, and then if you're looking at Rancher, et cetera, if you look into the dashboards, when you provision Helm charts, or, I mean, at some point, you're going to have to use the name just to say, hey, go provision this Helm chart. So where's the line, I guess.
So
know,
Which is why
I
it seems
know. I know that I guess Google has changed for Play Store their policy a few years back that you can do Helm dashboard wouldn't be okay, but dashboard for Helm would be okay from their standpoint. Maybe that's something where it's kind of Helm dashboard sounds like it's official, right? Dashboard for Helm, yeah, you can argue that it doesn't sound that official then anymore.
Even something like Helm release dashboard, it shows you your Helm releases, but we're still referencing the Helm brand, and this isn't a brand name, it's just a functionality of the product. I mean, we have something similar. It's done a Helm dashboard, but it shows you out of date Helm releases, and it's a separate open source tool that does that called Nova. And then we have another one called Reckoner that wraps Helm, but it's always in reference to Helm, the project, as its own project. So
Okay. All right, well, that's it for me. I just kind of wanted to surface this so everyone can maybe take a look or share their thoughts next week again.
okay. I think you're muted.
thanks. So what I said is thank you for that topic. And the next topic is Philip and your import values issue, if you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, so very quick maybe. So while working on the export values feature, we found so that People's is a team member of mine. We are pairing on that. So we found that there is something for the import values documented that just doesn't work that way. So it is if you import something into the parent chart and have for this same value already a default defined in your values YAML. According to the documentation, this should get overridden by the import. But we found out that, yeah, it just doesn't work. It keeps the value that is in your default YAML file. I guess it's not that big of a deal, but because the use case of defining a default for your YAML file that you then override with an import, yeah, probably not like the most common use case, but still it's like a disagreement between the official documentation and what actually happens. So yeah, we then immediately worked on a PR to fix that. That's already open. So if you want to have a look there, that nice.
There were a couple other PRs open around import values. I don't know if they fixed this particular issue. I was just curious if you looked through the existing import values PRs.
No, we haven't checked if there's already a PR fixing that actually.
And I'd have to look to see if they actually collide.
Yeah, that's good. Good idea.
I think anything else that I've seen that references import values is talking about being able to import a different type.
Okay. I see a couple related to subcharts, which I don't believe yours is. So yeah.
I think a follow-up to this, Philip, is or somebody needs to own, perhaps looking to see if import values, any of the other ones covers this. And then maybe merge those into one or add comments on that one.
Yeah.
And then after that,
Strategy. Okay. There's import value strategy.
and
Okay.
then-
Yeah, I will have a look.
okay, because I saw that Joe already commented that one of the core maintainers needs to look at this. So once we know which one needs to be the primary one, I think we need to send that to the core maintainers to look at. What do you think? Good plan? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks
Cool.
unique.
What was that?
Say it looks unique to me, this fix.
Okay.
Nice. So then it needs to get triaged. Okay,
Don't think we have any core maintainers here. So
yeah, we'll have to ping them in the Slack channel. Okay.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any other topic items? I'll mention something. I know I wasn't here last week and talked about the debrief from KubeCon, but I will say that Karen had the best swag. It really drew everybody to the booth for sure. And I don't know if Andy mentioned it last time, but one of the reporters stopped by, of course, you know, looking for a hat. And then he said, then Andy, you know, threw up the presentation up on the monitor and started, you know, talking to him about Helm. And he's like, you know, this is awesome. He's like, you're the only booth that I actually stopped and talked at. He's like, I'm so tired, I have jet lag, but this was really interesting and I'm going to keep an eye on Helm for the
Oh,
future.
wow.
I want to give
Yay.
that.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was nice. And there was, yeah, a lot of great conversations. And Monocle, which is a company that is looking at Helm, they reached out wanting to have more discussions. We mentioned coming to you know, doing a presentation at the Helm call. So they may join in the future, but it seemed overall like a really good conference. So not to feed everybody's FOMO, but sorry, other Andy.
it's all right. Doesn't bother me. I get plenty of it from work too, so it's not a big deal.
All
Did
right.
anybody stop by the Fairwinds booth and say hi? Just kidding.
I did not. I need to make a list of other ones. It was insanity. I don't know, Karen. The floor was, yeah. Next time.
It's fine.
All right. So anybody on the call that would like to introduce themselves that hasn't before?
Sure. Hi, I'm George. I spoke to Scott at KubeCon. I saw there was a note down below around people who are interested in helping out. And we use Helm a lot at my company, and I've got a little bit of a green light to maybe help out the community. Some interest in any like issues or things to help out. So any pointers would be great.
That's fantastic.
Cool. When I triage issues, I try to find ones that look like they'd be relatively easy and mark them as good first issues. So that'd be a great place to start looking.
Awesome. I'll take a look. Thank you.
And I know there's always help needed in PR review. I know last week Scott had talked about putting together maybe a group of people to try and triage, like not triage, but prioritize the PR backlog because it is quite massive at this point. I don't know. I assume that didn't happen because they didn't ping me and I volunteered, but hopefully we get that together. So I don't know if you're interested in reviewing PRs, but that might be something as well.
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I
Uh,
didn't want to quite like. Scott was like, "Yeah, just go review some stuff." I didn't quite want to just like jump in there and people would be like, "Who is this guy?" But anyway, I thought I'd introduce myself first. But yeah,
That's what I effectively did, was just started reviewing them. There's a few guides in the Helm, I think in the Helm community repo about sort of general process, but I know I have been told it is helpful to go in and review PRs, and if you can reproduce, the issue and then, validate that the fix works and just comment that and mark it, that's fine.
Okay.
And very helpful that the folks who have the green check marks can see that and see that other people have tested the PR. So.
cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I don't know who you were
Oh,
interrupting.
you, sorry.
Oh, anytime. All right, assignments for next week. If anybody would like to volunteer. I'm not quite sure if I'll be here yet. So moderator, issue triage, and PR review. Joe, did you volunteer for issue triage?
Yeah.
Okay, and George, can I add you down as shadowing him, maybe?
Sure. Yep.
Okay. PR review. Andy, is that maybe you?
No, unfortunately, I am drowning at the day job at the moment. And
No
do
worries.
not have the time.
I can try and review some PRs. I obviously can't sign up on anything, but I can stick some comments at least.
Awesome.
I can help you a bit. Also not some topics on my plate next week, so we'll try.
If
I
I'm,
will.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I will be here next week, so I technically could moderate. I don't know if I literally can moderate. I don't know if I have access to do that, but I'm happy to. But I'm also happy to take notes as well. So
thank you. If I'm here, I can moderate. We'll figure it out when we meet next Thursday, I think. So thanks for volunteering. All right, with that, does anybody have anything else? All right, it's good to see you all. See you hopefully next week.
Thanks
Same.
all.
All right.
Thank you.
thanks, everybody.